In the book of Genesis, chapter number 12, verse 6, we now saw the sat-nav. It's the pathway of navigation that he was led by God to walk in. I hope you know, are you there? This place that Abraham was going to, there was no map. There was no destination. The only assurance God gave him was that I will show you. That means every dream Abraham had was significant. It was a part of the map. Every open vision he had, every word of knowledge that came, every whisper that came, every impression that came. Do you realize how dependent Abraham needs to be to God in order for him to arrive at the destination? Now, under the circumstances that Abraham is in now, he can't quarrel with God, because if he does, God will leave him in the desert. Is that how you depend on God? I'm just trying to, before we enter into, I'm showing you clues that it is possible for you to become so strong in what you are doing, as if you know it all. If that has happened to you, you stopped ministry long ago. Because the way God does it in ministry, He doesn't give you everything at the same time. He gives you in piecemeal so that you can depend on Him. At any point in time where your dependence quotient is questionable, you are in the service to yourself, not in the service of God. It would have been easier for God to say, okay, this is where you're going. This is the map. See you there. But God decided that I want to develop a system in the life of in my dealings with this man, that this man will be perpetually dependent on me. So at least you know you are going somewhere. But there's no map. There's no map. I remember in final year, I had this roommate. We were both preachers. I was the teacher of my campus, but he was the preacher. He can set this place ablaze. So we now became roommates. I was expecting that will produce a revival. Hallelujah. We had some interesting times. The first, when we just became roommates, he arrived the room before I came. And then he said, I hope you know that I'm your senior in ministry. I said, yes, sir. So sit down and shut up. I want to teach you ministry. That's why we're in this room. I said, I like it. He went to the cupboard and he brought a sack. I was very attentive. He brought a sack and dropped it. And he said, you know the content of this sack? He said, messages, that he has already prepared messages for 1 year. And if he wants to preach, he'll just pick one and pray in tongues and go and preach. That was the first training he was giving me for ministry. Meanwhile, God will not. Are you with me? You know, I came with my diary. I have messages prepared there. And as I prayed early this morning, none of them qualified for what I'm doing now. My greatest inability is to know what God is saying. It's not as if we don't study the Bible enough to be able to talk. There's what to say in terms of content. That's not the problem. The problem is, what is God saying? Well, you know, I'm still learning. Maybe for you have a sack like my friend. And he had a sack. That's not how God leads his people. Meanwhile, your study life is so that you can improve on your relationship with God and be more accurate. Your message or anything God will ask you to do, any errand He will send you to perform, will come out of your relationship with Him. Are you still with me? Now, so Abraham could not by any means exercise the luxury of quarreling with God, because the mission he was on had already rigged him out of independence. It was a journey of utter dependence on God. Now, this is where people miss it. At any point in time when you become so confident in your strategy, you lose that link with the real sat-nav that is navigating you to the place where you will find your inheritance. And then you get stuck, and a transition will reveal you for who you are. So once and again, God occasions transitions in the spirit, where he might start counting at a frequency 1, 2, 3, then he jumps to 14. He doesn't continue at that same frequency. He jumps and continues somewhere else, so that people that are stuck in their ways, that have mastery in their methods, will freeze at this. Watch what I'm saying. In the next 5 years, you will be able to identify ministries in Lagos that are frozen because of the transition that God has orchestrated at this time.